So, Stuart Lancaster, so why is the management of contact training load important for the sport in both welfare and performance terms?
I think, first of all, we've got a responsibility as a game to make sure the game is as safe as possible for all the players, really. This came about through a survey on a lot of the best players in the world on their views on the amount of contact that we do in training. And what we want to do as coaches and as teams like Leinster is to make sure it's as safe as possible for players to maximise their potential on a Saturday. So what we don't want to do is to overdo the contact during the week and make sure that we have players who are fit, healthy, robust, injury-free during the week going into games at the weekend. So I think that's where it came from, and I was lucky to be involved in the research group with World Rugby and advise on the guidelines of what sort of levels of contact we should have in training and try and minimise those levels so that, as I say, we're looking after the players, they're fit and fresh and ready to play on a weekend.
And what role did you play in the development of the guidelines, and what were the key insights you found?
Yeah, so it was a series of, well, as I said, it was initially a survey of top players, men and women's players in the world. And they put together then a group of, I guess, experts of practitioners, coaching practitioners, players, S&C, physios, doctors. So this group of practitioners came together to look at the results and then come up with some form of guidelines that we could adopt as recommendations in the world game. The idea is that we minimise contact during a working week to 15 minutes full contact in the week. Control contact would be 40 minutes. So where we would call it like shoulder on or managed contact will be a maximum of 40 minutes. And then obviously there's an element of forwards unit work, scrums and line-out drive and defence, etc. That will be a further 30 minutes on top of that. So what we're trying to do is give people, both coaches and players, guidelines of what is the recommended levels of contact during any week. So we don't get, the extreme examples of coaches and teams doing loads of contact on a Tuesday or on a Thursday, which is more than double sometimes that is required, and we end up compromising players with injury and unavailability for games at the weekend.
And how do you manage the area now at Leinster?
Yeah, I think we if you'd have said let's look at those timelines and let's look at what Leinster have done over the last 5 years, I'd be pretty confident that we'd fit within those parameters. And we'd be one of the we've had success in the last 4 or 5 years, and we've done it on the basis of we've limited the amount of live contact that we do. We have control contact, but it is within the 40-minute window that it's been recommended, and the live set piece stuff again will be within that. So we do a lot of touch and pass games. We do a lot of double touch games. We play through shields. Sometimes we have shoulder on contact, making sure we're nice and square. We have controlled contact sessions that take place outside on technique, outside the main rugby window. And there are spikes of live contact, but they are very, very few and far between because we want the players ready for the Saturday.
And tell us about the role that Leinster plays in monitoring via instrumented mouth guards.
Yeah, well, this is just a new initiative, and World Rugby have approached Leinster and several other clubs if they would go down this pilot study of using instrumented mouth guards which will monitor collision load during A, games and B, training. So we're more than happy to partake in the initiative and the pilot study. And if any of the data that can be used from our training sessions and our games that help inform World Rugby as to what is acceptable levels of contact, then we're doing this because we want the game to be safe for the best players in the world, but also players who play at every level of the game, all the way down to the community game. This isn't just for the senior professional game. This is for every level of the game. How can we minimise the amount of contact they do during the week to allow them to play healthy and injury-free on weekends.
And why should teams and coaches adopt these guidelines?
Well, I think it's been proven. If you look at the top clubs now, they have got minimal contact during the week. I think you can still deliver high performance in terms of quality on-pitch performance. I think you get the best out of the players because they're not exhausted from the training that you've done during the week and injured. But the most important thing is it's the players. You know, we want the players to finish their careers as fit and healthy individuals who can go on to be successful in life. And there's been more and more talked about this recently. And the main thing that the players who are campaigning in this area are saying is, let's minimise contact in training. And I would 100% agree with them. And these guidelines and these recommendations are designed to help do that.
Brilliant, Stuart. Thank you very much.
No problem.
Brilliant.